One of the best features of Google Drive is Google Forms. Google Forms started out as a way to make surveys, and teachers very quickly saw that this was an easy way to make online quizzes, online tests, or online surveys to use in the classroom. If you've already used Google Forms in your classroom, you know that it's a time saver, a paper saver, and students actually like getting in and taking a quiz that way. If you're new to Google Forms, this tutorial will show you how to set one up and use it in your classroom. If you've already been using Google Forms, there have been quite a few changes and upgrades in the past 10 to 12 months, so you'll get to learn how to use all those new upgrades. The first thing you need to do is in your Google Drive screen is click on the New button, and down here under More you'll see Google Forms. Go ahead and click that, and you will get this template that will help you set up your questions. The first thing I like to do is name my form. So we're going to call this the practice test, and click OK. And if you notice, it pops up here. It also titles your quiz. If you'd like the quiz to have a different title than the actual title of the document, you can change this by simply clicking on it, highlighting it, and calling it something else. I'm going to call it the trivia quiz. Once you do that, it won't change your title up here. It'll just change the title that students see when they open up the quiz. Some decisions you need to make before you start putting in your questions are these choices up here. These are the form settings. There are some things you can choose. You can require students to log in with their domain name. That would be what looks like their email address for your school's domain. You can require that when they sign in. I never require that. That's one extra step that they can get lost in, so I just take that out. It'll give you a warning. I click OK. You can automatically collect the respondent's username. You can only do that if you have this require the login information toggled. That means in the spreadsheet where the answers are collected, you'll also see their username. I personally haven't seen any need for that at this point. However, if you are emailing students the results of their quiz, the results of the survey back to their Gmail email account, then you definitely want to toggle these two. For the purposes of this, we're going to take those out. You can show a progress bar at the bottom of the form pages if you want to show students how quickly they're finishing the quiz. You can use that or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on how many pages there are in my quiz. Sometimes I make it one long page, sometimes I add pages. I'll show you how to do both. Here, you can allow only one response per person. This one requires a login. If you have this toggled, you can also have this toggled. Students won't be able to use this particular login to answer twice. I haven't used that either. I've never had a student want to take a quiz more than once. That will depend on the students you have in class. Also, this is something that you might use, especially if you have a one-to-one in your class. You can shuffle the question order. A lot of us, when we make a test, we make 2 or 3 versions so that students sitting next to one another don't have the exact same questions in the exact same order. Here, you just click Shuffle Question Order, and every time a student or a different student opens up this quiz, the questions themselves will be in a different order. What you want to make sure that you're doing is don't number your questions if this one is toggled. And really, in Google Forms, there's no need to number your questions. They come up automatically, and there's no answer document plus test form to make sure that everything is aligned. This does it for you. So at this point, we are ready to put in our very first question. So my first question, and these are just going to be basic trivia questions, nothing school related here. My first question is, what decade, let's make it proper English, in which decade was Madonna born? So this is the question title. Question title just means question. Now you can give help text. This might cover anything from please answer in a complete sentence to please choose the best answer. Sometimes I use this, sometimes I don't. Once again, that just depends on how familiar your students are with using Google Forms and how familiar they are with the type of test you're giving. I'm going to show first just a multiple choice question. There are all sorts of different types of questions students can answer. They can answer text, which would be like a fill in the blank, a paragraph text, which is a longer answer, multiple choice. These first three are the ones you're probably going to use for your quiz. Down here, if you're giving a survey, there are things like text boxes, choose from a list, scale, a grid, date and time. Those would be really helpful if you're having students or parents even fill out a survey. Right now, we're just really going to stick with these first three. We're going to focus on quiz making. So at this point, you want to put in your choice, your answer, and your distractors. So we're going to go with the 40s, the 50s, which is the correct answer, which is shocking that she was born in the 50s, but she was. And we'll put in a couple more distractors here so that students have 4 choices. Now you notice I didn't put in A, B, C, or D like we normally would on a multiple choice test because once again, not necessary. Students are going to toggle right next to the answer they want. They don't have to go over to an answer document, bubble anything in. So really those A, B, C, D aren't necessary. If you need them in there for your peace of mind, feel free to just make this letter A, letter B, and so on. I don't feel the need to have them in there, so I'm going to leave them out. There are some other things you can do with each question. You can require this question. That means a student cannot submit until they've answered this question. I require all questions, so nobody can leave anything blank. We always tell students don't leave anything blank. This forces them to answer everything. There's also an advanced settings option, and for multiple choice, the only one you have are shuffle option order. This will also help if you have students sitting right next to each other so that they don't have the same answers in the same order. It may depend on what your distractors are, whether or not you want to shuffle these options. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle them so that every student who opens them up will get these in a random order. Once you have everything in the order that you like it, everything set up how you want it, you just click done, and this is what your question is going to look like. Now let's say I've decided that I don't want these shuffled. I don't want these choices and distractors shuffled. So I'm going to click on it, it opens it back up. You can go back to advanced settings and untoggle the shuffle option order. Click done, and it's done again. Now some of you are probably thinking, hang on, I already have all these quizzes made, I already have all these tests typed, they're all in documents, I do not want to type them again. You don't necessarily have to. It will take a little time, but all you have to do is copy and paste. And I'm going to show you that on the next question. To add another question, you come down here to this little button that says Add Item. If you just click on Add Item, it will add the same type of question that you previously asked. Since we asked a multiple choice question, it will add a multiple choice question. Now I'm going to put this one in the trash to show you how you add a different style of question. The little arrow next to it, you can add all sorts of things here. You can add text, the paragraph text, the multiple choice. You can also add a video, an image, and we'll get into those a little bit later. I'm going to stick with a multiple choice question and show you how to use tests that you already have created. Now, one of the nice things about the Google web browser is that you can actually move your tabs around, and I'm going to move my tabs around so that I have in the very first tab my questions. These are questions that I've already have typed. They're in a Google document. They're ready to go. This could be a PDF, it could be a website, anything that you can put in a tab here. The next tab over is my practice test, the thing that I'm creating. And I have this nifty extension, and in another video I'll show you how to add extensions. There is a split screen option. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and you can do this manually. It's very easy creating 2 screens. And here you have your quiz on the left-hand side, and once you click over here, you have your questions.